By the end of this video, not only will you learn how to be successful, you will never look at success the same way ever again. To answer this question, we will talk about none other than Epictetus, the, in my opinion, severely underrated Stoic philosopher, who believed that mastering our own thoughts and actions are perhaps the most important task of a philosopher, and emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our control rather than external circumstances. But what can the teachings of this strange philosopher teach us about success that we don't already know? And why is his philosophy relevant to answer this question? Find out in this video. But first things first, what is success? A quick Google search gives a definition that fits the subject of this video, namely, the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. Well, that leaves us with many more questions. What can we consider a good accomplishment or aim, and what defines having purpose? The interpretation of these words can vary from person to person. For some, creating and running a small business can be the biggest accomplishment they will ever achieve, while for others, purpose may entail making groundbreaking scientific discoveries. The definition of these concepts are vague and are also continuously evolving. They are shaped by our societal norms, cultural influences, and personal values. However, for the sake of this video, when we consider success within the context of today's standards, it often becomes synonymous with external achievements, such as wealth or fame. Most people have a predefined notion of what constitutes success, whether it's a lucrative career, a picture-perfect family, or a large social media following. But what happens if one does not conform to these societal standards of success? Are you then considered unsuccessful or deemed incapable of attaining what is perceived as desirable? This line of thinking creates the opening for another question. Should we measure our worth based on external validation? And that's exactly where Epictetus' philosophy can offer us some valuable insight. But what drives our relentless pursuit of being successful as defined by today's standards? Let's say we want to have a big house or an expensive car. In essence, it's the allure of living a perfect and happy life and being able to show this to the outside world. Let's take the example of a big expensive car. Let's say, for instance, that you chase after this car to impress other people. Is it truly worth it? Is the fleeting praise of others worth the sacrifice endured by saving up every penny for that car? Epictetus challenges us to reflect on the inconsistency of public opinion, emphasizing that only that which lies within our control, like our opinion, our values, and our inner peace, truly merits our pursuit. As he stated in the Enchiridion, we need to make the best use of what is in our power and take the rest as it happens. Yet, as Epictetus would remind us, these external goods hold little value in the pursuit of true fulfillment and success. He described them as unimportant and, most importantly, beyond our control. As we can read in his Enchiridion, Epictetus reminds us to keep our desires simple. We should pay more attention to what is happening around us and less to what people are saying or thinking about us. We should make a point of attending to what is within our power without dividing our energies, and most importantly, we need to be indifferent to what others think. In this part of the video, I want to ask another question. Why do some people look down on others they consider to be unsuccessful in the classical sense of the word, as we have described earlier in this video? Are people truly unsuccessful? Or are they merely unsuccessful in the eye of the opinion of others? Beauty, after all, lies in the eye of the beholder. And Epictetus teaches us exactly why this is so. Say, for example, that we don't have any qualities that make us successful within the context of today's standards. We have a mundane job that pays minimum wage, no fancy car or a big house, but does that mean we are unsuccessful? And let's say others call us unsuccessful because of this. What exactly is it that we take offense in? What are those people criticizing us trying to attack exactly? Epictetus would say they are attacking our ego, the part of our inner narrative that we create about ourselves. And it hurts when someone attacks our ego. However, taking offense in the external opinion of someone else is more our fault than it is the fault of others. As Epictetus says himself in chapter 20 of the Enchiridion, if someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. This might sound a bit harsh at first instance, but the more we think about it, the more it makes sense. Epictetus is actually saying that we need to maintain control over our inner selves, as letting the judgment of others define who we are is totally unnecessary. Marcus Aurelius makes a similar point when he says that we all love ourselves more than other people, but for some weird reason care more about their opinion than our own. Furthermore, we could make the case that you can have a happier and more successful life than the people who merely define success in the classical sense of the word, because of external conditions. For example, a nice corporate job or that big fancy car we have talked about so much in this video. From the viewpoint of Epictetus and the Stoics, these external conditions say nothing about our internal harmony and inner peace, in more modern terms. And aren't these what create a successful person? Yet often we do the exact opposite, by defining ourselves and our success by external conditions. Epictetus confronts us with a choice we all need to make. And I quote, "You have to stay up nights, put up with pain, leave your family, be looked down on by slaves, suffer ridicule from strangers, be outdone in status, in power, in legal matters, get the worst of it. Ponder whether you're prepared to pay this price for serenity, freedom, and calm. If not, then don't go near it." A person that wants to be successful by their own terms, according to Epictetus, knows what price is necessary to be paid. Settle on the type of person you want to be and stick to it, whether alone or in company. And this is exactly what he calls one of the tasks of being a philosopher, or in other words, the price we pay to be free, calm, and at peace with ourselves. And this means that defining your own success makes you somewhat of an outcast compared to people who define success in the classical sense of the word. And if that is what we truly seek, we need to accept this reality. It is necessary to live in accordance with our own values instead of the values of others or the masses. The choice is simple. Live a life based on what is important to you, or live a life that others want you to live. Which one sounds more logical? And which one sounds like it will improve your quality of life? Epictetus challenges us to reflect upon this question. If we don't watch out, the opinion of others can control us. And it's not just the opinion of others that can be a pitfall. Basically, everything that is something external to ourselves can control us in a negative sense if we don't watch out, according to Epictetus. I'm going to use the same example once again. Remember that expensive car? Don't let it define your identity. It can become the definition of what you are. And what if you lose that car? Let's say you lose that car because something destroys it, or you are forced to sell it because you lose your job. What if circumstances beyond our control strip us of our prized possessions? Epictetus warns us against measuring our sense of self-worth to external things. The car, the job, the lavish lifestyle. They are all but fleeting illusions susceptible to the whims of fate. This is vividly exemplified in the movie Fight Club, where the protagonist, known simply as the narrator, initially finds validation in his carefully IKEA-filled apartment, his well-paying job, and his consumerist lifestyle. But when the narrator's apartment crumbles into oblivion, it takes with it not only his IKEA furniture, but also his just as carefully constructed identity. Ironically, it is through the complete loss of everything external that the narrator in Fight Club discovers the true richness of his existence. In surrendering the quest for validation in material possessions and relinquishing the desire to control external circumstances, he finds an unexpected liberation. By shedding his job, his IKEA furniture, and even his apartment, all symbols of societal status, the narrator gains something far more profound. A newfound sense of self-awareness and inner freedom. Stripped of the trappings of his former life, He confronts the essence of his being with a clarity that was previously obscured by the illusion of success. So in losing everything, he wins everything by letting go the wish to control. And this is what Epictetus teaches us. Thank you for joining us in this philosophical exploration of what it means to be successful and the philosophy of Epictetus. We hope you enjoyed this video. As Epictetus would probably say himself, I can't control your opinion on this video or your enjoyment of our content. But if you did, please consider subscribing, liking this video and leaving a comment. It helps us beat the uncontrollable YouTube algorithm and get some exposure for our little YouTube channel. Remember, we are literally two dudes with a love for philosophy and a cheap microphone. We have no budget whatsoever. Your ongoing support is the only thing that drives us to make new content, and we truly appreciate each and every one of you. As always, please let us know what you think, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.